This is a tune that Bob Holt taught me. He played it all the time for square dances. At the time, it was really hard for me to learn to play right. And then it just clicked at a certain point, and now it's one of my favorite square dance tunes. So, Fort Smith. We have mutual music friends, I guess you'd say, in Columbia, so Mason knew them for a long time, and when you were going to come to school here last fall, they brought him down to a music party.
Nice.
So.
Good school, good pick.
Yeah, I like it so far.
Good. Is there a lot of old-time music in Columbia?
It's weird to say, because there's a lot of really good musicians there that play exceptionally well together, a lot of different styles. I would say there's a lot more, I think, compared to Springfield.
Would you say that it has something in common to the Ozarks in that it used to be a hub, and there's still a lot of residual from that?
I'd say that's exactly the truth.
Yeah.
There's a ton of residual. The Hallsville Square Dance, which has been going on since the early 2000s, has fostered a lot of that as well. You know, just a lot of teaching, a lot of learning, a lot of dancing. Recently, there's been a lot of people from St. Louis who have come down to play there.
No kidding.
Which hasn't changed the style of Columbia, but has brought much slower speed.
Wow. Do you guys see whenever you play together like differences in the styles?
We jokingly argue about it all the time. Yeah, like chord progressions and things like that. Yeah.
Really?
Speed, yeah, that's a big one. Although I've come around on that.
So who's right most of the time?
David.
Oh, I'm always right.
Oh my gosh.
And even when I'm not, I say I am.
Amen. You gotta.
He's got the experience, so whatever he says goes.
I don't know.
It's what goes in the book.
Yeah.
Well, would you guys mind playing another?
How about St. Joe Hornpipe? Hornpipe.
Yeah, sure.
All right, St. Joe Hornpipe. I learned this I got started in old time by going to fiddle camp, and the first one was in Bethel, Missouri, which is pretty far up north, and there's a fiddler named Dwight Lamb who would come down from Iowa and teach there, and he's a big deal. And he plays left-handed, but he plays a regular fiddle. And part of the repertoire up there in North Missouri and Iowa, I've heard it called Missouri River Valley. There's a lot more B flat and F, just flat keys in general. And so I remember telling Dwight, I want to learn anything you can teach me in B flat. And so this is one of the tunes he taught me. This is called St. Joe Hornpipe.
Missouri rules.
You should ask Mason that when you interview him.
Oh, I need to write that down.
Not gonna be happy with it. It's your mouse, man.
Yeah. You didn't give me your choice, so I brought that one. All right. So Missouri rules is kind of like. You can help me with this.
The jack of all trades of chord progressions.
Yeah, it's like the idea that like
Okay.
old-time tunes in Missouri have a certain pattern that they tend to follow, and so you stick with that pattern. And part of it is at the end of each part,
Okay.
like the A part and the B part, there's a turnaround that's like 1, 4, 5, 1. And another part of it is that there's no minors, which we break that part of Missouri rules in the Ozarks a lot. And that's most of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And is it generally like just pretty much a Missouri thing?
It's a Midwest thing mostly, I
Really?
think. But for some reason it gets called Missouri
Oh,
rules.
gotcha.
I've heard people say that's not fair and that it happens other places.
And they can get better fiddlers.
They can get bossy like we are. This is a tune called, what did I tell you? Oh, Arkansas Stomp. I learned this off of the Lonnie Robertson recording, the Rounder recording. I love Lonnie Robertson's fiddling, so.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And I've never heard of Dwight Lamb. You said he was from Iowa?
Yeah.
And it's Dwight?
Yep.
Okay.
He's the best.
He's really good.
And
Yeah.
I assume he's passed as well?
He's still living.
Is he really?
And he's still playing.
Wow. Is he old?
Yes.
Wow.
Is he 90 yet?
Oh, yeah. I think he's 92
Okay,
or 91.
so Gordon's age.
Yeah.
We're so blessed to have so many old timers in our
I know.
lives.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yep. Gives you a whole different perspective
Yeah.
on life.
Yeah.
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 All right, this is Shamus O'Brien. I don't know a ton about this tune. It's a Missouri tune. I don't know. It's not a Missouri tune. It was written in Chicago. It sounds like an Irish tune, and everybody thinks it is, but it was written in Chicago in the 1800s. But it's really common in Missouri fiddling, but not common in other fiddling, I think. So it's often done in G, but Cyril Stinnett recorded it in B flat, and I like it in B flat. So.
Did Bob Holt like to play in B flat and F?
Yeah, he taught me some tunes in B flat and F too.
Nice.
And he made sure I listened to Cyril Stinnett a lot.
Really?
Yeah. Are you familiar with Cyril Stinnett?
That sounds so familiar.
He's another North Missouri left-handed fiddler. Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Cyril Stinnett. There's some old black and white videos of him playing on YouTube, actually.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. He's good.
Wow. Oh,
He is good. He's from North Missouri.
really?
Yep.
What a shame. No, I'm just kidding. That's fantastic.
This is another North Missouri tune, Cyril Stinnett, I think, also, and I just learned it. It's perhaps the most recent tune I've learned, so I've been playing it a lot.
Nice. I love that little tune.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
So how do you listen to and learn your Cyril Stinnett tunes?
I have a bunch of CDs.
Nice.
So that's a big part of it. Sometimes I seek out recordings on the internet. That one I also found a recording of Charlie Walden playing.
Okay.
So I kind of blended the two versions. Yeah.
And where's Charlie Walden from?
He lives in Chicago.
He's from Hallsville, Missouri.
He's from the same town as Mason.
Okay.
Which that's just a little north of Columbia.
I know that name, Charlie Walden.
He's a big deal too.
Yeah.
Really?
He's got lots of stuff on
Really?
YouTube.
Okay. Nice. And Cyril Stinnett,
Yes.
am I saying that right, was a female?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I thought you said she for a second.
Nope. He was a left-handed fiddler though.
Okay, yes. And when did he die around?
Either late 70s or early 80s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, would you guys mind playing one or two more?
Okay. You want to try rapping the Pea Patch now? Warmed up? All right. So you know the story on this tune, right?
No, I don't.
No? Oh, this is a Bob Holt tune. I think the story is, he lived around Ava, and his dad asked him to learn this tune from one of the neighboring fiddlers. So this is as far as anybody knows, a Douglas County specific tune. So,
Wow.
so yeah, Rabbit in the Pea Patch. Get the right pick now? is so good.
And that's one of the tunes that's like really widely associated with Bob Holt.
Right.
Whenever
Yes.
people think
Yes.
him, right?
Yeah. If you ever try to learn it,
Yeah.
it's like this because I always get a kick out of it. Bob was always very particular on that last part. You have to make that chord, which is not that easy to do.
No.
And he insisted on it, and then he never did it when he actually played it for dances.
Do you play the chord? Do you play it for dances?
Yes. And I'm not the only one who had that experience. Like he tried to make all of us do it, and then we all noticed that he didn't do it. So
That is so funny. Well, would you mind playing one more?
yeah.
Or if you think of two more. That sounds
I
good,
told you
too.
we could play all night. This is an old tune that everybody used to play, I think.
Wow.
In fact, it's called Melinda, but everybody always called it Old Melinda, which is probably not very flattering to Melinda, whoever she is.
Nice. Good old Melinda.
Good old
Melinda.
I have a quick question. What's like the difference between Ozarks fiddling and Missouri fiddling?
I'm not sure how to explain it exactly. I think
Oh.
it's a lot of blurred lines right there.
Really?
But Ozarks fiddling. So I would say I think that we have a reputation for playing fast in the Ozarks,
Okay.
and in North Missouri they sometimes like to play slower. So that would be a difference. There are some tune differences, like grabbing the Pea Patch is pretty Ozarks. A lot of North Missouri fiddling is more ornamental, would you say?
I would agree.
Yeah, and it sounds more hornpipey, even though we
Very,
play
very
tunes
deep.
that are called hornpipe, but we play them like hoedowns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those are some differences. Yeah.
So interesting. What do you guys prefer to play?
Oh, I don't. I also would say that like, so you're asking like style, like
Yes.
So I would say Ozarks is a style, and no matter what I play, it's Ozarks, because that's just the way I play. It's like your dialect, you know?
Yes.
So I like to borrow very freely from North Missouri fiddlers, but they would all say I sound like an Ozarks fiddler, I think.
So interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That answers my question perfectly.
Yeah. We both learned this from Pete Howard. We'll see if we learned it the same way.
Nice.
We've never played this together. This is called the Blackberry Two-Step. woodshedded the whole thing instead of just the first part.
Do you know the Blackberry Waltz though?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, when I played it with Amanda, it always goes straight from the two-step into the waltz.
Oh.
So that's where I was getting lost.
I learned them
with you.
too, like 20 years apart. So I learned the waltz from Fred Stone King. This is a tune that Bob played, but I learned it first at the very first fiddle camp I went to in Bethel from Charlie Walton. So the first part is basically Charlie Walton's version. The B part is Bob's version. And then I added this third part that I really like because I heard an old recording of Bob Walters playing it.
Okay.
And he was like the source of a lot of Missouri stuff.
Really?
So he lived in Nebraska. Yeah. So, Stony Point.
Is there a lot of recordings of Bob Walters?
Yes, but
Yeah.
they're not necessarily super widely available.
Okay.
Is that accurate?
I believe. And if you shoot me a text, I'll give you the link.
Awesome, thank
to
you.
the Missouri Valley Music website.
Sweet.
And I think they have downloads for Ozarks Flyer, which is Liz Amos. That's a new album. And then, this is besides the point. I can add the product
You're putting a
plug.
plug in.
Yeah,
I see.
plug.
I see what you're doing.
No, but I think that the Champion, which is a lot of old Dwight Lamb recordings of Bob Walters, and I think those are available for free for download.
So interesting.
And if that doesn't work, I'll put a copy.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, so this is my version of Stony Point.
I enjoyed that very much. I love listening to you play guitar. Who have been your guitar influences? And we'll talk about that more whenever.
Yeah, Dave Cavins, Kenny Appleby, and Alvy Dooms.
And me, because I boss him around all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, my phone's going crazy. Anyway, listened to a ton of Elvin Campbell. He was Dwight's main guitar player. And that was per request of Dave Cavins, and yeah, just taught me a lot. And then Kenny Appleby taught me everything else. And now I can't use it because Dave doesn't like it. I'm just
that on the
recording.
Oh my gosh.
Kenny Appleby has a very North Missouri style of guitar play.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works with Ozarks tunes well, and sometimes
It depends on the
I
song.
tell him I want him to do Alvy Doom style.
Yeah, and Kim Lansford too, especially as of the last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I showed up and David said, "Listen to Kim."
Both Davids said that probably.
Yeah.
What is the relationship between a fiddler and guitarist?
It depends on the
The
fiddler and the
symbiotic
guitarist.
relationship.
So, like, Mason and I just kind of hit it off. Well, we ride to McClurg together all the time. So,
Nice.
like, that's, 2+ hours in the car every night. So, like, we got to know each other pretty fast. And we share a lot of interests besides music, too. So that, like, we get along really well. And, yeah.
Nice.
So, but, like, I think there are other guitars and fiddlers who, like, work together musically all the time and maybe have like a frenemy type relationship, but there's got to be some kind of closeness there for it to work really well, because you got to spend a lot of time together saying no, not those chords, or saying your quadrilles are really hard to follow, or things like that.
Yeah, we should have played a quadrille.
Yeah, I
Oh,
avoided
go
that because
ahead.
they're hard to follow.
You can if you want to.
We can if we want to.
Do you want to?
No, we don't have to.
Well, we could do. My list isn't that long, so we could do.
It's the Irish Washerwoman.
You want to do that one? The one we play the least? This one's one that, I'm sure you've heard Irish Washerwoman. They used to square dance to these, evidently, in the Ozarks. They square dance to all these 6/8 tunes. So this is one that people in the Ozarks still remember hearing. But these are jam busters in the Ozarks. And this one may be a jam buster for us, because we haven't played it in a long time.
We'll find out.
The guitar playing was fine.
I thought it was.
That's
really
one that
good.
we worked together for a long time to figure out chords, and then forgot to ever play it again.
Oh my goodness.
But I was trying to do. I was trying to make him do Gordon McCann's chords on that, because I remember. I don't even remember who the fiddler was, but somebody used to play that at McClurg, and Gordon had really cool chords on it. So
Really?
yeah, did you know that's why I was bossing you around so much?
I figured you.
Well, is there anything else?
I mean, you should stop asking us that.
I know.
Let's play a road tune.
A road tune, that's a Mason thing. Always have to have a road tune.
That's a
What is a road tune?
One for the road.
one for
Oh,
the road.
okay.
This is a Cyril Stinnett tune called, first of all, there are a lot of, startup dances now. Like, a lot of homeschool organizations are doing
Yes.
them, and contra dances and stuff. And so fiddlers come in prepared to play square dance tunes, which is great, but they also want to do the Virginia Reel, which you can do kind of square dance tunes for that, and that's fine. But then they come up with all these other dances, and you got to know a bunch of types of tunes. And so one that I'm seeing pop up is the schottisch, which is a really cool thing. And I just happened to learn a few schottisches through the years because they sound cool. So this one I learned it as rustic dance, which is what Cyril Stinnett called it. But it's also in R.P. Christensen's Old Time Fiddlers repertoire, and he calls it Evening Pleasures, which I think is a cool name.
Wow.
So. It's a dance that all I know is it's got hop, hop, hop in it. Like they hop,
Step,
hop, step. Then yeah. That's a very poor description of what a schottisch is, but
It works great as a mixer, you know. You can have your 2 rings and have one ring move around, and each guy gets to dance with a different lady, and each lady gets to dance with a different guy.
yeah,
It's really fun.
they're not hard dances.
Oh, pretty easy.
And what you do is they're all like hopping and stepping, and you start about that speed, and then you speed it up slowly every time around, and then they're going like so fast they can barely keep up at the end, and it's really fun. I don't know if that's how they were traditionally done, but I know Bob used to do it that way. I saw him do a
Really?
few schottisches, and he would do it that way. So.
That's so fun. I kept thinking schottisch, like that's the way I'd remember it, I feel like. Okay, well that sounded
Okay.
like one for the road.
Yeah.